All to Lawyer Up. It is indeed a pleasure to welcome you all to Lawyer Up 2023, an initiative by the Rotaract Club of the Faculty of Law to help new undergraduates navigate the halls of justice. Speaking of Rotaract, it is an international youth movement which brings together young individuals to exchange ideas and to focus on development of the communities through youth volunteering in community service, professional development, peace education, sustainable development, and international understanding. Accordingly, the Rotaract Club of the Faculty of Law, within a short span of 11 years, has grown into an organization with enthusiastic member support and has completed many successful projects serving the community. On that note, to begin proceedings, I would like to invite Project Co-Chairperson Rotaractor Benara Rajapaksa to deliver the welcome address.
Hi everyone, a very good morning to all of you and welcome. We warmly welcome you all to Lawyer Up 2023, organized by the Rotaract Club of Faculty of Law, University of Colombo. So this is an opportunity that we've eagerly been waiting for, since this is our very first project as a club that we are doing exclusively dedicated to the first year undergraduates of 2023, our newbies. So we were pretty much excited to organize this event. And speaking of Rotaract, as you all know, it is the youth arm of the Rotary International. And as the youth arm of the Rotary International, Rotaract has spread throughout the world, and the Rotaract District 3220, where we fall under. And also speaking of Project Lawyer Up, it is one of the key, most important projects of our club and also our signature project, which we organize annually by the organized by the Professional Development Avenue. And since this is a project organized by the Professional Development Avenue, the key aspect of it is to uplift the professional development of the audience, that is the first year undergraduates of the law faculty. Having said that, the main purpose of Lawyer Up is to provide an insight or a guiding light for the undergraduates to the first years as to what law is, what are the different career opportunities that you have in the field of law, and what exactly is the legal profession. Since, as we all know, even though law is something that we all know, it is a brand new subject to us, because even though no matter what subject you did for your A-levels, law is still new. Therefore, it is normal to have many questions, many doubts as a first-year undergraduate of law regarding your subjects and professions. So this initiative is something that we have taken in order to clear all those doubts for you. And for that, we have today with us joined to enlighten you all on these aspects, Mr. Vikum Jaisingha and Mr. Lakshita Edirisingha, two outstanding individuals and inspiring personalities of the field of law today. So we are indeed very grateful to have both of them here with us today, and truly grateful for accepting our invitation and being here despite their busy schedule. And also we have Mr. Vikum Jaisingha joined with us at the moment, because he will be conducting the very first session for today. So Mr. Vikum, we warmly welcome you to Lawyer Up, and we are very delighted to have you here and truly thankful for accepting our invitation despite your busy schedule. Having said that, I would like to congratulate all of you and to wish you all the very best, because this is the opportunity for you all to get all of your doubts sorted. So feel free to express your ideas and make the best out of it. You have the most capable individuals here to help you out. So all the very best. ඉතින් අංගිමාලි ඔයාලා හැමෝටම ආරාධනා කරනවා අද වැඩසටහනින් ඔයාලට පුළුවන් උපරිමය ගන්න කියලා. මේක ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ හොඳ අවස්ථාවක්. ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ හැම ප්‍රශ්නයක්ම ගැටලුවක්ම निराකරණය කරගන්න. ඒකට සම්බන්ධ වෙලා ඉන්න අපේ ආරාධිත අමුත්තන් දෙපළ ඉතාමත්ම සුදුසුයි. ඒකට ඔබට සියලුම දේවල් ඔවුන්ගෙන් ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්, ඔවුන්ගේ අත්දැකීම්, ඔවුන්ගේ දැනුම් සම්භාරය ඔබත් සමග බෙදා ගන්න ඕනේ ලෑස්ති. ඉතින් ඔයාලා හැමෝටම සුබ පතනවා. Thank you so much. Vinati.
ස්තුතියි බෙනාරා. නීති උපාධි අපේක්ෂකයෙක් අපේක්ෂිකාවක් විදිහට අපිට අනාගතයේ මේ ශාස්ත්‍රයේ යන්න පුළුවන් මාවත් ගණනාවක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් අද දවසේදී මේ වැඩසටහනින් අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා මේ ශාස්ත්‍රය තුළ ඔබට යා හැකි මාවත් පිළිබඳව වගේම අධ්‍යාපනයත් විෂය බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකමුත් සමබර කරගනිමින් සමබර පෞරුෂවත් විද්‍යාර්ථියෙක් කොහොමද බිහි කරන්නේ කියන කාරණාවන් පිළිබඳව කතා කරන්න. ඒ සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපේ ප්‍රධාන දේශකයන් දෙපළ සූදානමින් සිටිනවා. ඉතින් ආදරණීය නාංකිය මල්ලි ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම බොහොම ආදරෙන් ආරාධනා කරනවා වැඩසටහන ආරම්භයේ සිට අවසානයේ දක්වාම රැඳී සිටින්න. ඔබට ඔබේ ජීවිතයට අවශ්‍ය කරන වටිනා උපදෙස් ගණනාවක් අද දවසේදී ලබා ගන්නට පුළුවන්. වැඩි කාල වේලාවක් යවන්නේ නැතිව අප සූදානම් අපේ වැඩසටහනේ ඉදිරියට ගමන් කරන්නට. ෆර්හත්.
Thank you. Law is experiences developed by reason and applied continually to further experience. Hence, to speak on the importance of the legal profession and the different opportunities in the field of law, we have with us Mr. Vikum Jayasinghe. Mr. Jayasinghe shall be delivering the first talk for today. The participants can ask questions once the talk is over. We ask everyone to hold their questions, if any, till the session is opened for questions. Thank you. To introduce Mr. Jayasinghe, he holds an LLB and an LLM in the University of Colombo and is a SEMA UK pass finalist. Currently an attorney at law at the Supreme Court, he is further practicing primarily in the field of commercial law attached to the chambers of Mr. Nishan Premaratna. In addition, he served as the president of the Rotary Club of the Faculty of Law for the year 2016-17. Mr. Jayasinghe, it is a pleasure to have you with us today. We now hand over the session to you.
Thank you, Farah. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all can hear me. Yeah, okay, yeah. And I hope you all can see me also, despite, I think, the lack of camera quality in my laptop. Apologies on that. Yeah, so I'm going to mainly talk to you all about what the legal profession is, what can you all expect out of it, what are your opportunities, and I'll also talk about how Rotaract for me personally helped to get to where I am today, as well as in a general sense, what you all can expect from Rotaract, as well as maybe how to balance your academics as well as your Rotaract life. I'll stick to Sinhala and English in my address. I apologize, I'm not conversant in Tamil, but I'll mix it up in Sinhala and English as we go on. Okay. Before moving on to the legal profession, I just want to address the undergraduate life and how Rotaract is going to fit into all of this. I mean, I remember when we were doing A-levels, what we were told by our A-level teachers was that, you know, you get into uni, and once you get into uni, that's it. You know, the degree is basically going to be handed to you. You don't have to work hard, nothing, you know, it's just getting into uni is going to be the hardest part, the toughest part, right? I think, හැබැයි මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ ඒක කොච්චර ඒ කාලේ මම හිතන්නේ අපිට ඒ විදියට කියලා කොහොම හරි කැම්පස් යවන්න අපිව පෙළඹෙව්වට එච්චර සුන්දර කතාවක් නම් නෙමෙයි ඔයගලන්ට මේ අවුරුදු 4 පුරාවට අත්විඳින්න තියෙන්නේ. ඇත්තටම ඔයගලන්ට මහන්සි වෙලා වැඩ කරන්න වෙනවා. But the thing that I want to specifically, I think, point out is that it's going to be a 4-year degree. And if you really look into it, and you'll probably realize it as you all go on in your lectures in a few months' time, that this 4-year degree actually can technically be completed in about 2 years. Because if you have lectures in mornings and evenings with a bit of reading time at the end, maybe 4 semesters, 2 years, it's probably possible for the university to get this done in 2 years. Because very especially when you go to 3rd year, 4th year, you'll realize that the workload is quite less, and it's not maybe that hard as it was in the first and second years. The reason that I told you all this is the way that it is currently structured is going to give you all a lot of free time. I know at the outset it might not seem like that because it's all new, the atmosphere is new, you all probably are boarded somewhere close by, so your whole life is probably being thrown into the deep end, and it's not that easy. ඔගොල්ලෝ ඇත්තටම බැලුවොත් ගොඩක් දවස් වලට සමහර වෙලාවට මම හිතන්නේ ඔයගලන්ට ලෙක්චර්ස් තියෙන්නේ නිකන් පැයක් දෙකක් විතර. ඊට පස්සේ ගොඩක් ෆ්‍රී ටයිම් තියෙනවා තව ගොඩක් දේවල් කරගන්න. හරි. ඒකින්ද මට හිතෙනවා Rotaract වගේ සංවිධානයකට සම්බන්ධ වීමත් එක්ක ඒකෙන් ගන්න පුළුවන් ලොකු ප්‍රයෝජන ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. I'll tell you all what road track was for me and how it helped me, and then we move on to the general aspects. Yeah. So one main thing that I think all of you all probably already know is that when you get into the profession of being a lawyer, one thing that everybody will tell you all is that, look here, it's very important or imperative that you all have a lot of contacts, a lot of connections, right? Especially if you all are not coming from a background where either a relation of yours is a lawyer or there's a family friend who is a lawyer. It's probably very important for you all to develop that context or those communication or those lines of communication. ඒකෙන් අදහස් කරන්නේ road track එකට සම්බන්ධ වුණ ගමන් ඕගොල්ලෝ ජනාධිපති නීතිඥවරු එක්ක වැඩ කරනවා හරි ශාස්ත්‍රීය ප්‍රවීණ නීතිඥවරු එක්ක වැඩ කරන්න හම්බ වෙනවා කියන එක නෙමෙයි මම කියන්නේ. But what I'm trying to say is that you all will be able to create that link. You all will meet a lot of people who will have access or contacts towards all of those important individuals in the field, right? Because it's not just the faculty, it's not just the university, it's the entire country, or it's the entire world actually. So the contacts, the links that you all are going to be able to form out of this movement is definitely going to help you all in your future career, no matter what it is. You know, it doesn't have to be just litigation. I'll get into that. But whatever it is or whatever you want to do, I think that is definitely something that is going to help you all. So I feel that time is not a concern at all. You're probably going to have a lot of free time. So I believe Lakshita is also probably going to address you on this. But I feel that there's plenty of time for you all to focus on academics, do a bit of reading, but still spend time on your sports, on your extracurriculars, and maybe, you know, just to chill around with your friends. And I think that's where road track also comes in, right? Of course, the movement is there to really create sustainable change in your society. You will have a lot of projects. I would encourage all of you all not just to, you know, be a member for the sake of being a member. Of course, I get it, right? Having road track in your CV is probably gonna help you all somewhere down the line. Interview එකකට ගියාම උනත් road track club එකේ member කියලා තියෙනවා නම් ඒකෙන් අනිවාර්යෙන් ප්‍රයෝජනයක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒත් ඊට වඩා මම හිතන්නේ එතනින් එහාට ගිහිල්ලා projects එක involve වෙන්න, ඒ වැඩ කරන්න පටන් ගන්න. Especially I think what I enjoyed the most is a lot of these outstation projects that we had, right? There's a lot of bonding. You get to go around the country. And at the end of the day, you feel that you have really impacted somebody else's life in a good way of own organizations with specific goals in mind in terms of creating a very true and useful change in the society. ඒකද මම හිතනවා ඒ අත්දැකීම ඔයගලන්ගේ ජීවිතේ ඉස්සරහට ගොඩක් වැදගත් වෙයි. මොන විදියට ඔයගොල්ලෝ law practice කරන්න හිතුවත්, මොන ශාස්ත්‍රයට යන්න හිතුවත්, ඒ අත්දැකීම මම හිතනවා ගොඩක් වැදගත් වෙයි කියලා. Coming back to the transition into the undergraduate life, I think I told you that obviously it's not going to be an easy task, but I'm not trying to scare you all off as well, right? We've had people, very especially, I think Lakshita is a fine example where you perform exceptionally well in academics, plus you still engage in all of the other extracurricular stuff that you can possibly do in your undergraduate life. So that opportunity is there. But also something that I want to add is that if you do end up not doing so well as planned, it's still okay. It's still not going to be the end of the world, right? For example, I actually ended up failing 3 subjects twice during my undergraduate career. Yeah. So, but I'm still doing reasonably well. So I just want to tell you all that it's not going to be the end of the world. Don't get discouraged, but certainly shoot for the stars or shoot for the moon, right? Because getting a first class or a second upper is definitely going to benefit you all in the future, in terms of, especially if you all want to get into academics, or maybe if you want to apply for a scholarship for your higher studies, all of those things will matter. So do your very best. And in terms of academics, I'm sure all the lecturers will help you all in terms of your research, etc., etc. But one small thing that I would, of course, advise you all to do is to make sure that you all just do the allocated reading that you all are given for that particular day. Because when we talk to a lot of our seniors, like, for example, Sachin, Niran, and all of them who were at faculty, who performed well, what they would say is their lecturers would just come to the classroom. I think people, for example, like Mr. Rohan Singh, who would just allow the class to discuss or debate on a particular topic, that entire allocated 40 or 50 minutes for that lecture. That's it. That is going to be the lecture. And that level of discourse is what is needed, or what is rather expected in a university level. It's not where, just somebody will come, read something off a slide, you take it down, you memorize it, and you write your exam. But to get to that level, you need to be able to do the homework or do the required reading, so that when you actually go into the classroom, there's something to discuss about. If the lecturer finds that none of the people have read anything, obviously the lecturer is probably going to end up doing a very boring lecture, which none of y'all are going to benefit. So yeah, small point, maybe work on your required reading as well. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the life of a legal profession, or what you all can expect once you all do, in fact, graduate after your 4-year degree. Yeah. One main thing, obviously, is going to be that you can be a legal counsel. That is an obvious choice, which most of you are going to have. Legal counsel can be a state counsel, where you're representing the state as part of the Attorney General's department, or you can be attached to the private bar, where you're representing private individuals. You can be suing the state, you can be suing other private individuals, you're just a part of the private bar. I will get into litigation or counseling a bit later. I will just address a few other aspects or the prospects that you all might have to explore. ඔයගලන්ට කරන්න පුළුවන් තව දෙයක් තමයි අධිකරණ සෙට්. කියන්නේ ජජ් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න. ජජ් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න යම් කාලයක් වෘත්තීය වැඩ කරලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඊට පස්සේ ඒ අදාළ විභාග කරලා ඔයගලන්ට මහේස්ත්‍රාත් දිසාධිකරණය පටන් අරගෙන ඉහළටම යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක එක අවස්ථාවක්. අනිවාර්යෙන් ඒකට කැමති දෙතුන් දෙනෙක්වත් ඇති කියලා හිතනවා. Another option that you all will have is the company secretarial practice. These, of course, not the typical secretary that you all might be thinking of. Company secretarial is where any incorporated company, it's a mandatory position to have a company secretary. The roles and responsibilities of the company secretary would be to make sure that the documents are properly filed, make sure that the meeting notices go out, the minutes are kept, basically to make sure that the functions of the company happens as per the Articles of Association and the other regulations in terms of the Companies Act and all of that. So that is certainly one aspect. Then, of course, you can go into the conveyancing practice. You can start writing deeds and all of that. So that's a very chilled out practice. Something that a lot of people do as a side hustle. So you'll have your main practice, but you'll also be a notary. You'll also be doing all of the conveyancing stuff as well. The other thing is that you can get into a law firm. Something I think most of you all are familiar with. I'm assuming most of you all have seen at least one type of law-related TV series that is out there, and in all of those TV series, you will see a particular law firm being there, because all of the other countries, they don't have this private practice that much. All litigation happens usually through a firm. In Sri Lanka, however, you will have a lot of private individuals having their own private practices. We call them chambers, but there are firms as well. There are quite reputed firms all throughout the country. So what law firms do is sometimes law firms do their own litigation part, do their own counseling part as well. So basically, when you go into a law firm, Sometimes you get to decide, sometimes you will be allocated to either the litigation branch, where you do the court work, you go to court, you argue in court, you file documents, etc., etc. But also the firms might also do the non-litigation or the instructing at any part of it as well. That depends on what type of firm that you go into. Again, you can always speak to your seniors. You'll get at least one person from faculty in all of these firms, right? So you have access, and of course, once you get into Rotaract, you start building your contacts, because I mean, there are a lot of private institutes that offer LLBs. I think most of those institutes have Rotaract clubs also. So you get to coordinate or work with all of those institutes, meet all of those people, and they will definitely guide you in terms of wherever you want to go. තව දෙයක් තමයි ඔයගලන්ට කරන්න පුළුවන් company එකට join වෙන්න පුළුවන්. කියන්නේ ගොඩක් ලංකාවේ තියෙන listed companies ගත්තොත් listed කියන්නේ stock market එකේ list වෙලා තියෙන companies ගත්තොත් ඒ හැම company එකකටම වෙනම legal branch එකක් තියෙනවා. එතකොට ඒ legal branch එකේ වැඩ කරනවා නම් ඔයගලන්ට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ සමහර වෙලාවට ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන labor cases එහෙම පොඩ්ඩක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට contract drafting වගේ දේවල් ගොඩක් කරන්න තියෙනවා. I personally, I interned at Brandex for 6 months before I did my law college finals, in between my LLB, final year LLB, just before my law college finals. That was a good experience. I got to go through, vet a lot of agreements, draft minor agreements. Most of these companies will have their own company secretarial aspect as well. So the filing and all of that will be done in-house. හැබැයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට company එකක තියෙන legal division එක කියන්නේ උසාවියේ නඩු කතා කරන lawyers ලා නෙමෙයි. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට සමහර companies තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ lawyers ලා පොඩි matters company එක represent කරනවා. හැබැයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට වෙන්නේ company එකක lawyer කෙනෙක් කියන්නේ agreements draft කරලා labor tribunal එකට එහෙම ගිහිල්ලා ඒ වගේ company එක ඇතුලේ legal වැඩ ටික handle කරන කෙනෙක් තමයි. නඩු කතා කරන්න ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඒගොල්ලෝ පිටින් lawyer කෙනෙක්ව ගන්න. හැබැයි it's an 8 to 5 job. You get all the benefits, the bonuses, the perks. I mean, it is definitely something that you can consider, right? Then the banking sector, which is again a niche sector that a lot of lawyers can consider. And I think what they call actually, it's sometimes the legal department, but it's also the compliance department, or a combination of legal and compliance, where again you're supposed to make sure that the bank is functioning in terms of all the corporate regulations, the CBSL regulations, all of that. You do the day-to-day company secretarial work. You will draft a lot of mortgages, leases, and all of that. You will handle a lot of parat execution cases. So it's basically in terms of how the bank is going to recover the debt, as well as how they will structure their agreements to safeguard their interests and all of that. Okay. Then of course academics. lecturer කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. faculty එක තියෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව ගොඩාක් private institutes තියෙනවා LLBs offer කරන. ඊටත් අමතරව දැන් මම note කරලා තියෙනවා ගොඩක් management type degrees offer කරන institutes ගොඩක් law කියලා subject එක පොඩි subject එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ institute එකක law part එක උගන්වන්න පුළුවන්. I think a lot of international schools are also trying to bring in this general law type of a subject into their curriculum. So that avenue is definitely open for you all. If you're interested in lecturing, if you all want to give back to the community, basically, that's definitely something that you all can consider. And of course, legal research. Legal research, මං හිතන්නේ ගොඩක් හොඳයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේ ගොඩක් වෙලා තියෙන නිසා අපේ මේ ඩිග්‍රී එකේ අවුරුදු 4 ඇතුළත මම හිතනවා ගොඩක් හොඳයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ try කරොත් 3rd year 4th year කාලේ මේක පටන් ගන්න. A lot of opportunities will be there. You again can talk to a lot of your seniors, because you will find a lot of NGOs which would want researchers. It might be short stints where they want you for a particular project. It might be a 6-month project, 3-month project. Consider those opportunities. Sometimes chambers also occasionally take hire researchers for specific tasks. Judges will definitely want researchers, and a lot of judges would prefer somebody from faculty. I mean, they have this reputation that faculty, I don't know where it comes from, but there's some reputation that faculty people are good in research. So I've noticed a lot of judges, when they ask our seniors to find them research assistants, they would specifically say they'll prefer someone from faculty. So there's definitely an edge for you all in that. So මම හිතන්නේ ඒක ඇත්තටම ඕගොල්ලෝ faculty එකෙන් graduate වෙන්න කලින් පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක ගොඩක් හොඳ වෙයි. මොකද කොහොමටත් ඕගොල්ලෝ faculty එකේ අපි මේ කරන assignments වල හැටියට අපිට ලොකු research ප්‍රමාණයක් කරන්න තියෙනවා, and you all will be taught how to do research. You know, it's not just you type something on a search engine, you just read some stuff that comes up, and that's obviously not going to be research. You all will be taught to do proper research. You all will be taught to I mean, university obviously have access to Hain Online, Gesto, and all of that. So that molding or training that you'll get in your first few years is definitely going to be very important in your future career, because to everything that I said before, all of the other, I think, career opportunities, this legal research aspect is going to be there somewhere. For example, if you're working in a chamber, your senior might probably just tell you, okay, I need you to find a case that says this. So, I mean, you need to go and somehow find a case that you can use, or some part of some case that you can use to, you know, present your argument or justify your argument to the judge. Wherever you go, even in companies, they will want you to do some sort of research. So my advice is maybe start that in your third year or fourth year. I know that this attendance requirement can be a bit of a pain. I am not going to suggest anyway how to skip that attendance requirement. That is obviously up to you all. But still, while keeping to the attendance requirement, I believe you still can find some time to engage in some form of research opportunity. Hari. ඕවා ටික තමයි generally මට හිතන හැටියට ඔයගොල්ලෝ graduate වුණාට පස්සේ මේ සමහර ඒවා lawyer කෙනෙක් වෙනකන් ඉන්න ඕනෙත් නෑ. ගොඩක් මේ දේවල් lawyer කෙනෙක් වෙන්න කලින් වුණත් කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල්, පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන් දේවල්. ඒ අත්දැකීම ලබා ගත්තාම ඔයගොල්ලෝ කවදා හරි OAT එක law college final විභාගේ ලියලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ OAT එක ගත්ත දවසට ඒ අත්දැකීම ඇත්තටම ඔයගලන්ට ලොකු ප්‍රයෝජනයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. I told you that I'll get into the litigation or the counseling aspect a bit later. So I want to elaborate a bit more on that, particularly because myself being a litigator, I can talk a bit more on that or explain to you a bit more on that, right? So again, it depends on what you want to do. What I can tell you all right now today is that the opportunities that you all will have are massive. I mean, I probably told you all about more than 10 career options, and in those 10, I think, categories also, you all will have a lot of subcategories, minor categories that you all can look into or work in, right? There are a lot of niches there. So the opportunities are definitely going to be there. But you all will have to figure out what you all like to do, what clicks with you all. The only issue is at faculty, we probably might not get that proper exposure as to how the outside world functions, as to how a chamber functions, etc., etc. So one thing again I would advise is definitely go to court. There's no restriction whatsoever. Wear the proper attire, go to court, sit in a courtroom, and listen to what is going on. That is, I think, one of the best ways to figure out whether that is for you, whether you want to do that as a career for the rest of your life. First, you need to know how it happens, because obviously the TV series experience that you all have is not going to be able to be, I mean, compared to what is actually going on in the Sri Lankan courts. So do go to court. I mean, a lot of good cases are there in Supreme Court. The Supreme Court website is quite good. A lot of judgments, I mean, all the judgments are being uploaded there. So access the website, the case list, the bench list, everything is there. So talk to your friends, figure out, talk to your seniors. They'll also be able to tell you all about all of these important cases that are going to come up, right? So make sure that you're, because I know that there is some sort of a court visit that all first years get, but I personally felt from my court visit that I didn't properly get a proper exposure, because what you do is you just go sit there for about 10 minutes in a particular court, then you go to another court. I don't think that exposure is going to be enough for you. So do find some time to actually go sit in a proper argument case. The issue with a lot of Sri Lankan courtrooms is that, of course, you probably just go and sit at the back. The judge is going to mime something or just whisper something to the lawyer. The lawyer is going to just whisper something back in reply, and you might end up just wasting 30 minutes to 1 hour not even hearing anything. So pick a good case that is fixed for argument or fixed for support or fixed for leave to appeal, and maybe go a bit early, get a seat somewhere nearby so that you can actually hear what's going on, because most of these lawyers just tend to speak as slowly as possible and get that proper exposure. That's number one. Again, coming into litigation, what can you do? There's of course the civil practice. By civil, I mean it's again a vast area, right? You have your contract law, you have your divorce cases, you have your land matters, your partitions, all of those aspects that come in the general paradigm of civil is there. Because see, again, you probably won't, unless that person is a very junior lawyer who is practicing on his or her own, you probably won't get a lot of lawyers practicing the entire gamut of legal practice. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔගොල්ලෝ chamber එකකට ගියාම ඒ chamber එකේ කොයි වෙලාවෙවත් හැම අංශයෙන්ම හැම නඩුවක්ම කරන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ criminal උත් කරනවා, divorce උත් කරනවා, ඉඩම් නඩුත් කරනවා, company law උත් කරනවා. එහෙම chambers හරිම අඩුයි. So then again also you'll have to figure out what you like. But that of course I think you'll probably get a good understanding from the subjects that is available. I know that of course civil procedure is not that faculty, you'll probably be studying it at law college, but you get a lot of other subjects you can. There's company law, there's intellectual property law, you have your con and admin, you have your appeal, you have your environmental law. So all of these subjects and labor, so all of these are being taught to you, so that at least by choosing a subject that you like or auditing all of these subjects, it's probably going to help you all to figure out, to know at least whether you like this subject or not. That is probably the first step, right? Again, coming back, in terms of the council, you can have your civil practice, all of those areas, or you can have your corporate practice. You can have your corporate chamber. So for example, the chamber that I'm attached to, we are basically a branch of Dr. Harsh Kabra, President's Council's chamber. It's mainly focused on company law and intellectual property law, but we do a lot of some of other civil aspects as well. So that's one thing. Then of course the criminal law aspect. You can practice in a criminal law chamber. I don't know who teaches criminal law for you all now, but back when Prashant Lal was teaching criminal law for us in our first year, I mean, 95% of the class probably decided to practice criminal law just because the way he teaches, because he is a really good lecturer. So I don't know, I'm not quite sure whether he still teaches criminal law. So that's definitely one aspect. Then you have your shipping and administrative law. We have law of the sea at faculty. So if you are interested, that's definitely a path that you can take. There's environmental law. Again, I think Lakshita might probably be able to talk more on that aspect, because that's something that he's really interested in. You can practice in banking and insurance. That is again another niche. These all, in terms of practicing as a counsel in a chamber, you still have all of these opportunities. Can be your public international law, FRs, admin law, all of that you study for your Con 1, Con 2 and admin. All of those cases are there. So that's one thing that you can specialize in. Tax is another area that you can specialize in. We have a lot of seniors who are very conversant in tax and handles a lot of specific tax cases. I mean, and probably based on the way that the country is going, this might actually be a good thing, because there might be a lot of new taxes coming in. Labor law is another aspect that you can do. Again, you might be able to practice labor law on your own, or labor law might also be important if you want to get into a company and be a part of their legal team as well. And also arbitration. I don't want to get into a lot in terms of arbitration or alternate dispute resolution mechanisms, because that is a separate subject alone in itself. Back in the day, we didn't have arbitration as an LLB subject. I don't know whether you all have it or not. But basically, arbitration is an alternate dispute resolution mechanism. කියන්නේ උසාවියට එන්නේ නැතුව දෙපාර්ශ්වයක් අතර තියෙන ප්‍රශ්නයක් විසඳ ගන්න පුළුවන් එක විදියක් තමයි බේරුම් කරණය කියන්නේ. So those also that you have a lot of lawyers. I mean, arbitration is not something which is really a hit right now, but it has a lot of potential. It has a lot of benefits. You can use it. So, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be a lawyer to be a part of an arbitration, but there are lawyers who are specialized in arbitration as well. So that is, again, another option that you all have. I hope that I didn't bore you all with all the details, but I just wanted to give a general idea again to highlight or elaborate the massive amount of opportunities that you all will have, right? And මට කියන්න ඕනේ උනේ ඕගලන්ට law practice කරන එක ඇතුළත ලොකු පරාසයක් තියෙනවා ඕගලන්ට තෝරගන්න. ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ කොහොමද මේක තෝරගන්නේ කියන එක. ඒක තමයි ඇත්තටම මට හිතෙන්නේ එතනදී law faculty එකෙන් ඕගලන්ට අර එච්චරම exposure එකක් හම්බෙන්නේ නැහැ ඇත්තටම කොහොමද මේක වෙන්නේ කියලා දැනගන්න. ඒකට කරන්න පුළුවන් එක හොඳ දෙයක් තමයි උසාවියට යන්න, විශේෂයෙන්ම සුප්‍රීම කෝට් එකට යන්න, ඒකේ එන නඩු බලන්න, ඒවට ඒකට ආස හිතෙනවද, ඒ දේ කරන්න කැමැත්තක් ඇති වෙනවද කියන එක බලන්න. සහ faculty එකේ ඉන්න කාලේ research assistant opportunities තියෙනවා. ඒවට යන්න ගිහිල්ලා බලන්න ඒ field එක හොඳයිද, ඒකේ continue කරන්න පුළුවන්ද. Look into whether those fields have career progression also. I know right now it doesn't really matter, but that might be something to look into when you want to actually settle down on a particular career. But again, fundamentally, I feel you need to like what you're doing. I know a lot of you all probably are here because you all did well in art subjects and your parents probably forced you all to come to faculty because you got selected to faculty, and it's a big deal. I mean, obviously I'm not going to tell you all to leave and go to the arts faculty, but simply I'm going to tell you all to just follow your dream, whatever you want to do, because all of this is possible. All of what I told you all previously can be done by any person, irrespective of whatever gender, academics. Nothing is relevant. You can follow any of those career paths. What matters is what you want to do, what you like to do. Of course, there might be certain barriers along the way. You figure things out. You figure how to face those barriers as well. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I would suggest you all to use the time that you all have at faculty to go out there to see how things work. Companies might also have certain internship opportunities. So I started Brandex before I graduated faculty. So some of these internship opportunities are there. Give them a try. Make sure that you use a lot of the spare time you have in terms of all of your extracurriculars, including road track. That's going to help you all to definitely create so many links to figure out what you want to do later on in your life. Maybe the impact that you all does to society in one particular project might maybe help you out to think, okay, this is what I want to do in life, right? Well, let's say you do a LGBTQ awareness workshop, or you all do a project on that, and you really figure out that's our laws are archaic, B, that the awareness is really low, and there's so much that you can do towards that community. And then you decide, okay, maybe that's the kind of lawyer I want to be. That is what I want to practice. So all of these opportunities are there. Give it a try so that you all will figure out what you all want to do. හැමදේම කරලා බලන්න, try එකක් දීලා බලන්න. කොහොමදත් ඔයගලන්ට apprentice period එකක් කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. ඔයගොල්ලෝ law college ඉවර වෙලා oats ගන්න කලින් මාස 6ක්. හැබැයි ඉතින් ප්‍රශ්නේ තියෙන්නේ ඒ මාස 6 මදි මේ හැම જાතියක්ම හරියනවද කියලා පොඩ්ඩ බලන්න. මොකද එතකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ගොඩක් අය කරන්නේ මොකක් හරි එක chamber එකක apprentice වෙනවා. ඒක හරි ගියොත් හොඳයි කියලා හිතාගෙන එහෙමම දිගටම continue කරගෙන යනවා. So before you get to the apprentice period, I feel if you can just maybe dip your toe in a bit on all of these areas. Talk to your seniors, talk to us. You can get my contact details from any of the road directors. If you want to intern, if you want to get involved in all of these opportunities, the opportunity is there. You just have to have a bit of commitment and get into it. Yeah. And Rotract again is probably going to help you all in all of that. Rotract is definitely going to help you all in articulating your thoughts, in presenting your ideas. I think MCDS, the Moot Court and Debating Society, is also another society that I would recommend that you all give it a try, which would really help you all in terms of if you all do have a fear. I mean, some of you all might really want to be counselors, but maybe have a fear of public speaking, doesn't really want to speak in public. So Rotract will definitely give you all that opportunity where you all head a project. You all might start with a small welcome address, a small vote of thanks, but that will go a long way. You get involved in meetings, you speak your ideas, own your leadership skills. So that's why I want you all to not just be a member, but be an active member, get involved in projects. I can guarantee you that you will have a great time. You will have a lot of fun with your friends. I mean, there have been people who have found their significant others also through Rotract. So yeah, another incentive for you all. It's definitely going to be a lot of fun. But in addition to all of that, I think there's a lot to be gained. So in conclusion, I guess I wish all of you all the best. And all of us are here to guide you all, to assist you all. Drop a text, an email, whatever. We're always available. So yeah, all the best. And yes, definitely, I am open for any questions that you all have for me now.
අද දවසේ අපි සාකච්ඡා කරපු මෙම තේමාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපිට දේශකතුමාගේ අත්දැකීම් සම්බන්ධයෙන් බොහොම වටිනා උපදෙස් මාලාවක් ලැබුණා. ඉතින් ආදරණීය නංගී මල්ලියේ මේ අවස්ථාව ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මොනවා හරි ගැටලුවක් ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නම් දැන් අවස්ථාව විවෘත වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඔබේ ප්‍රශ්න ගැටලුව දේශකතුමා වෙත යොමු කරන්නට. අද දවසේ අපි මේ කතා කරපු තේමාවන් සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබට සිංහල, දෙමළ, ඉංග්‍රීසි කැමති මාධ්‍යයකින් ප්‍රශ්න යොමු කරන්නට පුළුවන්. ඔබේ මයික්‍රොෆෝනය අන්මියුට් කරන්න, එහෙම නැත්නම් chat box කියන ඔප්ෂන් එක පාවිච්චි කරලා ඔබේ ප්‍රශ්න යොමු කරන්න පුළුවන් දේශකතුමන්ට.
We are sure that our audience would have been inspired by the talk. Now, we would like to open the session for questions to the speaker from the participants. We would encourage questions and comments in all 3 languages with which our team will be helping. If anyone doesn't want to unmute and speak, we even encourage them to use the chat box function.
So I have a small question, something that I have always. Okay, there's another question. I'll read that out on the chat box. One of the participants is asking how we can improve our English.
Yeah. So what you can do is, I think, again, myself personally, I studied my entire 13 years in Sinhala. So coming into faculty, my English probably wasn't as good as it is supposed to be, right? So I think faculty still has the English course if you're not exempted, so you do follow that. And in addition to that, I think reading will definitely help you all a lot. So I mean, if you all are not that conversant, still try to read, use a dictionary, talk to your friends. That is something that would really help you all in developing your English. So start off with all the reading material little by little, spend some time on it. That will really help. And again, don't back out just because you feel that your English is not good, right? Don't think that you will have to have good English speaking ability to join road track. Don't think that you need to have good English speaking ability to join the English medium lecturers or to join MCDS. Just take that step. Join. Of course, road track is multilingual. You can speak in your native language, the language that you're comfortable with. Don't make that a reason not to join any of these clubs or not to take up all of these opportunities. But along the way, you will develop, right? You start talking to your friends in English, they can correct you. You start reading in English. So those little things, I think, is probably going to help you all. So don't limit yourself just because you feel that your English is not that good. I will answer that in Sinhala also. I should have answered that in Sinhala. හිතන්න එපා ඉංග්‍රීසි බෑ කියලා මුකුත් නොකර ඉන්න ඕනේ කියලා. මේ හැමදේම ඕගොල්ලෝ පටන් ගන්න ඉංග්‍රීසි පුළුවන් වුණත් බැරි වුණත් road track එකට join වෙන්න English medium lecturers යන්න MCDS එකට යන්න ඒ හැමදේම කරන්න ඕගලන්ට ඉංග්‍රීසි බෑ කියලා හිතුණත් ඒ පටන් ගැනීම ඕගොල්ලෝ එතෙන්ට ගිහිල්ලා ඉංග්‍රීසි කතා කරන අයත් එක්ක කතා කරලා ඕගලන්ට ඒක හදා ගන්න පුළුවන්. සහ විශේෂයෙන්ම මමත් අවුරුදු 13ක්ම ඉස්කෝලේ ඉගෙන ගත්ත සිංහලෙන්. මාත් ෆැකල්ටි එනකොට එච්චර හොඳට ඉංග්‍රීසි පුළුවන් වෙලා තිබ්බේ නැහැ. ඒක හැදෙන්නේ අපිට දෙන required reading ටික ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කියවන්න. ඒ articles ටික කියවන්න පටන් ගන්න. ඩික්ෂනරිය පාවිච්චි කරන්න. යාළුවන්ගෙන් අහලා ඉගෙන ගන්න. බය වෙන්න එපා. ඒ opportunities නැති කරගන්න එපා ඉංග්‍රීසි බෑ කියලා හිතෙන නිසා විතර.
There are a few more questions on the chat. How we can join for international organizations and what are the opportunities?
By international organizations, I'm assuming you're probably referring to NGOs. So NGOs, of course, you can follow a lot of these NGOs online. They have their pages. They'll post job vacancies. You can follow them on LinkedIn, etc. So that opportunity, and talk to your seniors. I mean, I'm sure all of you all have your WhatsApp groups and all of that. So when all of these opportunities come up, it'll be shared so you can apply. In terms of, I don't know what you actually meant by international organizations. Of course, you have a few multinational organizations that have legal divisions. Like, for example, you have your Unilevers, which has a legal, as of course, company in Sri Lanka, and they have their legal branch. So again, those of course will be based on vacancies, but most of these companies also would have internship opportunities. I don't think they pay you that well. My initial internship salary, I think, was about 15,000 per month or something. So obviously, it's probably not going to be enough for you to survive, but that's definitely going to be a good start.
Thank you for that answer. We have another question. Law degree එක අරගෙන HR manager side එකට යන්න පුළුවන්ද? ඒ පැත්ත ඒ path එකට කොහොමද යන්නේ?
law HR අතර ලොකු සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙනවා. මොකද HR වලත් ඔය labor part එක කොහොමදත් උගන්වනවා. මම හිතන්නේ ඔයා HR වලට interested නම් ඔය PQHRM වගේ qualification එකක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකයි ලෝයි අතර අනිවාර්යෙන් එතකොට ඔයා ෆැකල්ටි එකේ ඉගෙන ගද්දි ලේබර් ලෝ වගේ සබ්ජෙක්ට්ස් කරන්න. එතකොට මොකද සමහර කම්පනීස් තියෙනවා අර මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේ කම්ප්ලයන්ස් උයි ලීගල් උයි ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක එකතු කරලා ඒ විදිහටම HR උයි ලීගල් උයි ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක එකතු කරපු කම්පනීස් තියෙනවා. සා කොහොමටත් ඔයාට තියෙන HR දැනුම ප්‍රයෝජනවත් වෙනවා ඔයා කම්පනි එක හරි කවුන්සල් චේම්බර් එක හරි ලේබර් ලෝ වගේ එකක් ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කරද්දී. සහ කම්පනි එකට ගියාමත් ඔයාගේ තියෙන HR දැනුමයි ලේබර් ලෝ දැනුමයි එකතු කරලා ලොකු දෙයක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක ඇත්තටම human resource වලට interested නම් ඒ පැත්තෙන් මොකක් හරි qualification එකක් follow කරන ගමන්ම ඔය LLB එක කරන්න. එතකොට ඔයාලට දෙකම එකතු කරලා ඔයාලට company එක වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන්, chamber එක වැඩ කරද්දී ඒක ප්‍රයෝජනවත් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So ඒ fields දෙක අතර ලොකු සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙනවා. ඒකෙන් ඔයාලට අනිවාර්යෙන් ඉස්සරහට යන්න පුළුවන් interested නම්.
Thank you, sir. There's another question. Can I specialize in cybersecurity?
Definitely. I mean, something that is certainly going to be one of the future areas, right? My knowledge on that is probably not adequate enough to tell you how you can do that. But what I can tell you that is that a lot of these new regulations and legislation are there in terms of data protection. I don't think IT is a subject at faculty, but I had IT for my LLM. So that is certainly a field that is going to be very important in the future. And the issue is Sri Lanka will of course be working on new legislation. So even though we have data protection policies and data protection laws, we don't necessarily have specific legislation in terms of cybersecurity. That is, I think, something in the pipeline. So another thing, a lot of these committees, I think when Ali Sabri became the minister, he started a lot of reform in terms of legislative reform, and he formed a lot of these committees. What I was trying to say was, whenever a legislative reform committee is being formed, you get specific research assistance to those committees. So maybe have an eye on that as well. I was involved in the pre-trial new draft and the small claims court new draft. So all of these things, those opportunities are there for you all. So if that opportunity arises in terms of a new legislative reform in a field that you like or interested in, definitely see whether you can get involved in that. But in general, I feel yes, cybersecurity is something that is definitely going to be important in the future. And if you're interested in that, I would definitely suggest. I know that LLB probably doesn't offer you anything specific on that, but your higher studies in terms of your LLMs, or maybe you can do a thesis on that. So definitely something that you can pursue on.
Thank you, sir. Another question. Is economic policy making an option once you graduate with an LLB?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, please?
Yes. Is economic policy making an option once you graduate with an LLB?
Okay. So economic policy making, probably you can talk to someone like Senith, who was at faculty, who's now doing an econ masters at Oxford. So again, that is one of my main interests also. That was one of my main interests also, because I did commerce and econ was one of my favorite subjects, right? Again, I don't think policy making and practicing law is probably going to go hand in hand. But if you are really interested in economic policy making, I would again suggest that yes, you can follow that. And for you to follow that, again, I can't guarantee with the way that the country is governed, I can't guarantee how successful that is going to be for you. But if you do have that interest, again, I would suggest that yes, do follow that path as well, concurrent to your LLB, because we've had people who did it, and we've had people who are combining those two aspects as well. So if you actually want more guidance, I can set you up with people like Senith who are actually doing that, and you can talk to them and definitely get more insight on that.
Yes, sir. So I had a question.
Yeah.
Something that I have always wondered is like, when you're going for, let's say I would like to apply for an internship, but I can't fathom how, just I'm in the second year now, I just started. So I can't imagine how, without any actual, legal knowledge or something, how I can go and intern somewhere. So, that's always held me back because I'm actually not sure, how to apply for something and then to go there and be like, so so what would be your advice on that? How would that process work? Like, does it matter? And stuff.
Yeah. So for you and for anybody else who have that concern, I mean, that's the whole point of an internship. You're not required to know anything at all going into an internship, because because again, even when I started off at Brandex, I figured out that not that, of course, things that you study at faculty are irrelevant or unimportant. There are certain subjects I personally feel that should, should have been stopped ages ago. But anyways, you would realize that it's quite different. It's a quite different atmosphere. The application of what you have studied is probably done in a much more different way than you perceive. But that is definitely the whole point of getting into an internship. Nobody who is hiring you as an intern is going to expect you to perform a lawyer's task, right? And don't worry, because obviously you've studied at faculty, you know how to gather information. Because so if they tell you to do something, you have that ability to figure out how to do it, to do your own research and figure out how to do it. But again, benchmark, nobody's expecting you to know anything about law when you're coming into an internship, because they're definitely going to train you. They're definitely going to allocate you to a particular person who will take you under their wing, who will spend some time, a week, a few weeks, instructing you, explaining you how things are done. And you will start off with small tasks, and you will graduate as you go on. So do not let that keep you from applying to all of these opportunities, because nobody is going to expect you to know a lot of stuff coming into an internship. They're going to train you, they're going to teach you. Don't let it hold yourself back.
Thank you, sir. I do have another question though.
Yeah.
So like you mentioned that, while we are undergraduates, we should attempt to do research or write papers and those things. So like, would you have any advice for people who wanted to start doing that kind of, because we've never done that kind of thing before. So like, from
Okay.
the starting point, or like, like any advice or tips that you'd give?
Yeah. So I think one thing that you mentioned also, which I couldn't highlight properly, write articles for research papers. That is definitely a good thing. In terms of advice, what I would say is, again, faculty, and I feel that unlike a lot of other institutes, really teaches you all to do proper research. Because I know that we don't have a thesis or an extended essay, but a lot of our assignments are based on actual solid research. And I feel some of you all will have assignments where you're supposed to do an entire research proposal as well, right? So don't worry, faculty has already given you all that knowledge and skill. You all are capable of doing solid research, even for a Supreme Court judge, even for a multinational company, because you all have that ability. In terms of advice, I would simply say that don't worry, because that is already being taught to you all at faculty, because we do quite high-end research compared to a lot of, I think, other institutes. So don't worry about that. You'll have that opportunity, you'll have that ability, and certainly, yes, as you pointed out, do try to publish some articles as well. Especially by the time you get into your third, fourth years, you all will know what you all want to do, right? So if you all feel that you all want to maybe continue for a master's degree, if you all want to apply for a scholarship abroad, it is very important that you all have some sort of publications. Of course, you can send them some of your assignments. I think the local masters, of course, accept your assignments as well as publications. But a lot of international universities would want you all to send them some of your actual publications. So do give it a shot. Of course, the quality of your publication will increase over time. that is a given. But it's definitely a good time to start while you're at faculty itself, and we have a lot of lecturers who will be more than happy to help you all, to guide you all through your publication in terms of selecting an area, how to do it. So talk to all of these lecturers who I know personally would definitely be full on board in terms of helping you. So don't again hold back. Write for all of those law journals. I think Junior Bar also allows undergrads to write for their journal. So find out all of these information. I think a lot of other institutes are also starting up their own journals. So write articles for it, because that will definitely be helpful if you want to continue as an academic, or if you want to maybe apply for a scholarship, go for masters abroad. For all of those things, having those articles published now itself is going to help you. In terms of research, of course, don't worry, you all have that ability by doing the assignments at faculty itself. So you all are capable of even doing high quality, top-notch research. So give it a go. There's nothing to be afraid of.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. So if there are no further questions, we can close the question session now. And Mrs. Jayasinghe, thank you very much for spending time with us. You are very much welcome if you don't have any other commitment to attend, to stay with us and continue, or else thank you very much and you may take your leave.
No problem. Thank you, everyone. All the best. And yeah, I'm all more than happy to respond to any text or email you'll want to send me. I'm always available. Kudos to Rotaract for organizing this project. All the best, and yeah, take care. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Next up, we have Mr. Lakshita Edirisinghe to speak on the impact of extracurricular activities on an individual's career. Mr. Edirisinghe was the most outstanding student of the Faculty of Law in 2021, holds a diploma in international human rights, was a former treasurer of the Rotaract Club of the Faculty of Law, and is currently the secretary at the Rotaract Club of Centennial United. He is a legal apprentice at Sapumal Bandara Attorney at Law Chambers, an English news presenter at Sri Lanka Rupawahini Corporation, and a Central Management Committee member in the Sri Lanka Young Zoologists Association. In addition, he's a theatre artist, compeer, and also a voice-over artist. Mr. Edirisinghe, it's an absolute delight to have you. The session is now yours to take over.
So I hope I'm audible and visible.
Yes, very much.
For some reason. So thank you to Rotaract for having me. I am extremely sorry for the formal outlook. I am not at home right now, I'm outside, but I don't want to make it a very formal session, and I just try to keep it as informal and casual as possible. Thank you to all of you for joining in. I won't take a lot of your time. I'm just going to brush over a few things that I think are important for you as undergraduates, especially during your early career in your academic life, of learning how to balance extracurricular activities. And I will try to talk to you about what as a part of the Faculty of Law, some of the things that I did and how they actually continue to help me to date with regards to the things that I touch upon the highlights of my Rotaract career and why it and how it really helped me to realize or go on certain pathways. Then I will go on to discuss about 4 things that I think are quite important, because the topic that was allocated to me was to, how to balance academics and extracurriculars and the whole the discussion around it, right? And then I have a few concluding thoughts for you guys as well, right? I'll try to do it in both languages so that I can get the maximum involvement or engagement from everyone. මම කතා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන දේවල් ටික ගැන මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේ මේක මේ ගොඩක් formal session එකක් විදිහට කරන්න මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ නැහැ සහ I know it's been recorded මම සමහර controversial දේවල් කියේ ඒවා Tamanට ගැළපෙන විදිහට හිතලා තීරණය කරන්න. එතකොට මම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පොඩ්ඩක් මම faculty එකේදී කරපු දේවල් ගැන කතා කරන්න ඔයගොල්ලන්ට යම් අදහසක් ගන්න සහ කොහොමද මේ දේවල් මම දැන් කරන වෘත්තිය සහ මම දැන් ඉගෙනලා ඉන්න අනිකුත් බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් වලට තාමත් මේ දේවල් වල දායකත්වයේ කොයි වගේද සහ මම මගේ road track ජීවිතයේදී මගේ ජීවිතේට එකතු කරගත්ත දේවල් කීපෙකුත් ඒ අතරේ බෙදා ගන්න. ඒ වගේම මම හිතන්නේ මට කතා කරන්න ලැබිලා තියෙන මාතෘකාව තමයි කොහොමද මේ බාහිර කටයුතු අධ්‍යාපන කටයුතුත් එක්ක සමබරව කරගෙන යන්නේ කියන කාරණාව මම ඒකට මම විශ්වාස කරන විදිහට අපි කතා කරන්න ඕනේ ප්‍රධාන කරුණු 4ක් ගැන ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් කතා කරා. ඊට පස්සේ මම පොඩි කාරණාවක් දෙකක් විතර කියන්නම්. Mr. Vikun Jayasinghe spoke to me, spoke before me, and he would have handled the legal aspects of any questions that you had. So I'm not going to touch on the legal aspects because he's as we used to call him, was my senior when I came to faculty. So I'm sure you would have learned a lot from his session as well. Right. Mama nakatti ඇති මම නොදන්න කට්ටිය ඇති මම law faculty එකට join වෙන්නේ 2017 වර්ෂයේදී මෑත කාලේදී තිබ්බ convocation එක තමයි අපේ graduation එක. එතකොට faculty එකේ ඉන්න කාලය ඇතුළත faculty එක ඇතුළේ තියෙන extra curricular activities ගණනාවක් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙලා වැඩ කරලා තියෙනවා. මම පොඩ්ඩක් මේක පම්පෝරියක් වගේ සමහර කෙනෙක්ට හිතේ නමුත් මම කියන්නේ එතන එහාට අපි එකෙන් එකතු කරගත්ත දේවල් ටික සවිශේෂයෙන් මම එකතු කරගත්ත දේවල් ටික ගැන ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පොඩි අදහසක් ගන්න. So my primary involvements at the faculty included the moot court and the debating society, where I was not only a participant at debates, negotiation competitions, the Jean Pictet competition, moots and such like, but I also got the opportunity to be a student coach and also a judge at several tournaments. Like I said earlier, I have also been part of the road track movement, the road track club of faculty of law, and subsequently right now I am involved in another community-based road track club, the road track club of St. Vincent United. We were also part of this association called Aesthetic Dimensions of the Law. I don't know whether it's still in existence, but the idea behind that was to encourage law students with aesthetic abilities to showcase their talent. And then I was also fortunate enough to be a part of the Center for Environmental Law and Policy towards the latter part of my undergraduate career. And of course, I've been comparing events at faculty. I started an internship during my third year at faculty at the Environmental Foundation Limited. And then outside faculty, as was given in my introduction as well, I've been an English news presenter for Sri Lanka Corporation. I do the theater. I am also a content writer and strategist. So a lot of things, right? But just to sum up everything, I think මේ හැමදේම මම කියලා අන්තිමට කියන්න උත්සාහ කරන දේ තමයි අපි මේ බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් විශේෂයෙන්ම බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් වලින් ඉගෙන ගන්න දේවල් අපි සම්පූර්ණව එදිනෙදා ඉගෙන ගන්න ලෙක්චර්ස් වලින් එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි කරන රිසර්ච් වලින් අපි කරන අසයින්මන්ට්ස් වලින් ඉගෙන ගන්න දේවල් නෙමෙයි. ඒ වගේ දේවල්. Now I'm assuming that a majority of you are going to join the legal profession in the future. I'm saying majority because there can be people who completely go sideways, and I do not have anything against it. I'm someone who encourages it, right? Again, these are controversial things, but things that needs to be said. My law faculty එකට ඇවිල්ලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ undergraduate career එක law සම්බන්ධව නැත්නම් නීතිය සම්බන්ධව ඔයගොල්ලන්ට උපාධියක් තිබ්බ පමණින්ම ඔයගොල්ලෝ නීති ක්ෂේත්‍රයේම ඉන්න ඕනේ රැඳිලා ඉන්න ඕනේ කියලා දෙයක් කොහෙවත් නැහැ. ඒක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට හිතෙනවා නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ නීති ක්ෂේත්‍රයේ නෙමෙයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ප්‍රධාන වෘත්තිය වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා නැත්නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝ වෙන ක්ෂේත්‍රයකට යොමු වෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා ඒක ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ තීරණයක්. ඒකින්ද ඒ තීරණ වලට යන්න හිතෙනවා නම් ඒ තීරණ ගන්න බය වෙන්නත් එපා. නමුත් මම හිතනවා ගොඩක් කෙනෙක් නීති ක්ෂේත්‍රයත් එක්ක රැඳෙලා ඉන්න කියලා. ඒතර නීති ක්ෂේත්‍රය තුළ රැඳිලා හිටියත් අපි මේ කරන විෂය බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් වලින් ගොඩක් දේවල් අපි එකතු කරගන්නවා. විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි මේ කතා කරන soft skills, communication skills වගේ දේවල්. මේ කතාව ගොඩක් තැන්වලදී ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඇහිලා ඇති ගොඩක් අය මේක ගැන කතා කරලා ඇති. හැබැයි ඇත්තම නීති ක්ෂේත්‍රය විතරක් නෙවෙයි ලංකාවේ තුල ඕනම ක්ෂේත්‍රයක් ගත්තොත් මෙතනදී මේ soft skills වලට තියෙන demand එක දවසින් දවස වැඩි වෙනවා. සමහර තැන් මම පෞද්ගලිකව අත්දැකලා තියෙනවා සහ දැකලා තියෙන දේ තමයි සමහර තැන්වල soft skills වලට දෙන ප්‍රමුඛතාවය තමන්ගේ තියෙන විෂය දැනුමට වඩා වැඩි. මම ඒක වගකීමෙන් කියනවා. ඒ හින්දා මේ soft skills communication skills වගේ දේවල් ඉස්කෝලේ කාලේ බැරි වුණා නම් විශ්වවිද්‍යාල කාලේදී අපිට අපේ කැරක්ටර් එක එකතු කරගන්න එක මම හිතන්නේ ඉතාමත්ම වැදගත් කාර්යයක්. එතකොට මේ දේවල් ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් මේ විෂය බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් හරහා. Then for example I joined towards the latter part of Mr. Vikram's discussion when I heard the discussion on research. Then research කියන දේ law faculty එක ඇතුලේ ගත්තොත් අපිට subject එකක් විදිහට මම හිතන්නේ නැහැ උගන්වනවා නැති කියලා. මම දන්නේ නැහැ අලුත් syllabus change එකක් එක කොහොමද syllabus update වෙලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. I hope some aspect of researching is taught. But මම පෞද්ගලිකව research කියන දේ ඉගෙන ගත්තේ mooting. මොකද moot එකට අපිට case එකක් දුන්නාම අපි ඒ case එක research කරලා ඒ case එකට අවශ්‍ය guidance වලට support කරන law එක හොයාගෙන අපි prepare වෙනවා. අපේ submission එක prepare කරනවා. අපේ oral submission එක prepare කරනවා. එතකොට අපි හරියට research කරනවා. කියන්නේ කෙටියෙන්ම කියනවා නම් අපි control F කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ මේ article එක ගත්තා. control F කරන එකත් මම ඉගෙන ගන්නේ mooting වල. එතකොට මේ දේවල් අපිට වැදගත්. මොකද අපිට සමහර වෙලාවට අපි ඕගොල්ලෝ ඉස්සරහින් නීති ක්ෂේත්‍රයට පිවිසුනම මේ නීති විද්‍යාව විදියට වැඩ කරනවා. ඒක වෙන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඔයගලන්ට ආටිකල් එකක් හරි දෙයක් දීලා නැත්නම් සමහරවිට ඔයගලන්ට මොන හරි ડોකියුමන්ට් එකක් දීලා කිව්වොත් එහම ඉක්මනට මේක බලන්න මේ තැන් ටික හොයාගන්න මෙන්න මේ ෆැක්ට්ස් ටික හොයාගන්න කියලා. එතකොට ඒ හොයන විදිහ ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙනගෙන ඉන්නවා. අන්න ඒක තමයි අපි මේ විෂය බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් වලින් ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් ඉගෙන ගන්න. මම හිතන්නේ අර ඉගෙන ගන්නවා කියන එකට වඩා ඉගෙන ගන්න විදිහ ඉගෙන ගන්න එකයි අපි බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් වලින් කරන්නේ. මම හිතන්නේ මේ දේවල් කොහෙන්වත් අපි උගන්වන දේවල් නැත්තම් ලංකාවේ ඇතුලේ ක්‍රමානුකූලව ඉගෙන වෙන දේවල් නෙමෙයි. මේ දේවල් ඔයගලන්ට ජීවිතේට එකතු කරගන්න පුළුවන් හොඳම විදිය තමයි විෂය බාහිර. Learning how to learn. I don't think that is taught anywhere in the country. And so the best way for you to learn it is to move towards extracurricular activities as much as possible. Other things, general things like communication skills, how to speak to someone, how to understand another person, empathy, how to deal with certain situations in a diplomatic way. ඔය දේවල් කොහෙවත් පොත්වල සිලබස් එක ඇතුලේ ඔයගලන්ට උගන්වන්නේ නැහැ. ඉගෙන ගන්න වෙලාවකුත් නැහැ අතට. දැන් අපි ගොඩක් දැන් මේ දුවන තරඟකාරී ලෝකෙත් එක්ක අපි නිකන් දැනුම කියලා දෙයක් හොයාගෙන යනමුත් එක්ක ඔය දේවල් සමහරට අපේ ජීවිතෙන් ඈත් වෙලා වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්. නමුත් මේ දේවල් වලට ආපහු අපි සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නේ මේ අපි කරන විෂය බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් හරහා. දැන් රෝඩ් ට්‍රැක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ආසන්නතම උදාහරණයක් රෝඩ් ට්‍රැක්. ඔයගොල්ලෝ කමියුනිටි සර්විසස් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට්ස් කරද්දී ඔයගොල්ලෝ සමහරට ඒ ප්‍රජාවත් එක්ක ගනුදෙනු කරන්න සිද්ධ වෙනවා. සමහර වෙලාවට අපිට වඩා අඩු පහසුකම් අඩු අවස්ථාවන් තියෙන ප්‍රජාවන් එක්ක ඒගොල්ලෝගේ දුෂ්කරතාවයන් ඒගොල්ලෝගේ ප්‍රශ්නත් එක්ක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ කොයි ආකාරයකට අරගෙන આવොත් නීති ක්ෂේත්‍රයට අපි නීතිඥයෙක් විදිහට නැත්නම් අපි හිතමු අපිට පස්සේ හම්බෙන්න ක්ලයන්ට් කෙනෙක් එනවා අපෙන් යම් නීති උපදෙසක් ගන්න කියලා අපි මේ පුද්ගලයාගේ සිටුේෂන් එක මුලින්ම අඳුරගන්න. අපිට ආපු ගමන් වාදි කරලා ප්‍රශ්න කියන්න මොකද්ද මේ කියලා එහෙම අහන්න බෑ. අපි සමහර වෙලාවට ඒ කෙනාට කතා කරලා ඉන්නේ ඒ කෙනාගේ තත්ත්වයේ තේරුම. එතකොට මේ වගේ ස්කිල්ස් කොහෙන්ද අපි ඉගෙන ගන්නේ? මේක අපි ඉගෙන ගන්න මේ එක්ස්ට්‍රා කරිකියුලර් ඇක්ටිවිටිස් වලට අපි මේ කරන විෂය බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම්. තව උදාහරණයක් මම දෙන්න. මම මේ දැන් ඉන්න තැන ඉඳන් මම උදාහරණයක් දෙන්න. මේ වෙලාවේ බාල් ඇසෝසියේෂන් එකේ ජූනියර් බාර් කමිටි එකෙන් ඕගනයිස් කරන sexual and gender based violence සම්බන්ධ workshop එකක් මේ වෙලාවට පැවැත්වෙනවා. මම මේ ඉතන ඉඳගෙන මුන්න කියන විදිහට ඇවිල්ලා තමයි ඔයගලන්ට කතා කරන්නේ. එතකොට මේ වගේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට්ස් ඕගනයිස් කරන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ නීතිය දැනගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන්. හරි. සමහරවිට sexual and gender based violence සම්බන්ධ නීතියේ එක්ස්පර්ට්ස්ලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ අතරින් බිහි වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඉන්න වෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් අපි හිතමු මේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක ඕගනයිස් කරන්න ඔයගොල්ලන්ට බාර දෙන්න. එතකොට කොහොමද අපි රිසෝස් පර්සන් කෙනෙක්ට කතා කරන්නේ? අපි කොහොමද මේ තැනට ගිහිල්ලා ඒගොල්ලෝ එක්ක කෝඩිනේට් කරලා අපිට අපේ අවශ්‍යතාවය කියලා අපිට අවශ්‍ය තැනක් තෝරගෙන ඒ මුදල් ගනුදෙනු කරලා ඒ දේවල් කරන්නේ කොහොමද? ඊට අමතරව අපි කොහොමද මේකට සහභාගී වෙන කට්ටියව දැනුවත් කරන්නේ? ඒගොල්ලන්ට එන්න කියන්නේ පොඩි දේවල්. ඒ හැම පොඩි දේම අපිට undergraduate degree එකක් කරා ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් නෙවෙයි. එතකොට මේ හැම දෙයක්ම අන්තිමේදී ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මම නීති ක්ෂේත්‍රය ගැන කතා කරේ මොකද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට සමීප ක්ෂේත්‍රය ඒක නිසා. ඕනම ක්ෂේත්‍රයකදී ඔයගොල්ලෝ සලකලා බලුවොත් soft skills වලට දැන් තියෙන demand එක ඉතාමත් වැඩි. මොකද soft skills නැති මම කියන්නේ ජෙනරේෂන් එකක් කියලා. මොකද මාත් ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ජෙනරේෂන් එක අපි හැමෝම එකම ජෙනරේෂන් එකේ නිසා. නමුත් ප්‍රවණතාවයක් තියෙනවා ගොඩක් අයගෙන් මේ soft skills කියන දේ වෙන ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්ම අපි මේ හොයලා තියෙන ජීවන රටාවත් එක්ක. එතකොට ඒ නිසා තමයි මම කියන්නේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට faculty එක ඇතුළේ විතරක් නෙමෙයි අපි සමස්ත විශ්වවිද්‍යාලෙම ගත්තොත් කොළඹ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලය ඇතුළේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් වල යෙදෙන අවස්ථා ගණනාවක් තියෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ මේ විදිහ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට සම්බන්ධව යම් දැනුවත් කිරීමක් කරලා ඇති. මම ඉන්නේ ඒවල් වලට වැඩි වෙලාව ගන්නේ නැහැ. I'm sure you have been informed of the opportunities available inside the University of Colombo as a whole, not just faculty. There are so many opportunities when it comes to sporting activities, when it comes to other extracurricular activities, co-curricular activities, aesthetic activities, and such like. So my advice, if I am to give something right at the beginning, is venture beyond faculty. If you are a part of University of Colombo, be a student of the University of Colombo, not just the faculty. The moment you step outside faculty of law, you will broaden your horizons, and I tell you this with conviction. Faculty එක ඇතුළට විතරක් සීමා වෙච්ච undergraduate ජීවිතයක් ගත කරන්න එපා. එතනින් එළියට යන්න. කොළඹ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ ශිෂ්‍යෙක් බවට පත්. මොකද ඒක ඇතුළේ ඔයගොල්ලන්ට සමහරට ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහලවත් නැති අවස්ථාවන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ලැබෙයි. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ගනුදෙනු කරන්න හම්බෙයි අනිත් faculties වල ශිෂ්‍ය ශිෂ්‍යාවන් එක්ක. ඒ හරහා එකතු කරගන්න දෙකින් පාටිය. ඊට පස්සේ මම කෙටියෙන් කතා කරන්නම් මගේ ජීවිතය මම කොන්ට්‍රැක්ටර් කෙනෙක් මම හිතන්නේ නැහැ මම විශාල මේ රෝට් කටයුතුත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙලා I was extremely involved with road track. I have to be frank. I can't lie and say I was a full-on road track. I was here committed 24/7. I didn't do that. I couldn't do that. But I think what road track did to me, and just summarize and highlighting two things. One was that, of course, road track exposed me to a lot of new friends, and as a result of which I now ended up at another community-based road track club where I can continue to give my services out to the community. And that, of course, is something that road track gave me, right? But the second thing, and something that was interesting, was road track actually exposed me to this project, and that's how I entered road track as well, which gave me an opportunity to firsthand implement and experience the field that I'm extremely passionate about. The Hone Opodi Katawak, you know, who that all summer Danno at the then Mama Mage passion වඩාත්ම කැමති ක්ෂේත්‍රයේ මේ වෙද්දී පරිසර සංරක්ෂණය කියන මාතෘකාව. එතකොට මේ මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේ අන්තිමට මේ කතාව අපහොත් ටිකක් කියන්න. මම දැනට මෙතනින් මේ කතාව අරගෙන යන්න. ඒකට එක දවසක් මට කෝල් එකක් එනවා. එතකොට අපි හිටපු road track president හරි මට හරියට මතක නැහැ road track සමාජයේ හිටියේ මගේ යාළුවෙක් අපිට උද බැච් එකේ road track ප්‍රමෝදය දායවස. යාමට කෝල් එකක් දීලා කියනවා මෙන්න මෙහෙම ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා අපි රක්වානේ ඉඩමක් අරගෙන අපි ඒකේ reforesting campaign එකක් කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ පළාතට අවශ්‍ය ගස් ටික හොයාගෙන ඒවා පැල කරලා අපි එතන rain forest එකක් නිර්මාණය කරනවා. කැමතිද සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න. දැන් ওই කාලේ තමයි මමත් මේ පරිසර සංරක්ෂණයට ටිකක් කැමැත්ත උනන්දු ඇති වෙලා තිබ්බ මුල් කාලේ. ඒක මම ඉතින් ආයෙ දෙපාරක් හිතන්නේ නැතුව හරි වань එන්න කියලා පටන් අරගෙන ඒ ව්‍යාපෘතියත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙලා තමයි මම road track කෙනෙක් වුණාට අන්තිමට පත් වෙලා දැන් තාමත් මේ road track සමාජත් එක්ක වැඩ කරමින් ඉන්නේ. එතකොට මට අවස්ථාව ලැබෙනවා ඒ හරහා මම කැමති විශේෂ ක්ෂේත්‍රයක මට ඒ ක්ෂේත්‍රය වෙනුවෙන් දෙන්න පුළුවන් දායකත්වය අර first hand experience කරා. I was fortunate enough to first hand experience. That was one of my very first conservation related projects. As a result of which, that has now given me a platform, so to speak, to continue to work towards environment and environmental conservation. Right? මගේ පම්පෝරි කැල්ල ඉදවලට ඉවර කරාට පස්සේ මම විශ්වාස කරන විදිහට now I to tell you guys exactly that no one else has told as well. හැමෝම කියනවනේ මේ අධ්‍යාපනයයි extracurriculars balance කරගන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කාලය කළමනාකරණය කරගන්න ඕනේ. හැම දෙයකටම අවධානය යොමු කරන්න. දැන් ඔය ටික අහලා ඇති ඔක මගෙන් අයහන්න අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැහැ නේද? I was pressurized to find something else to tell you guys. So this is what I came up with. I'm going to talk about 4 things. First thing is prioritization. Second is personalization. Third is compromises. And fourth, I will call it friends. Right? මුලින්ම කතා කරන්නම් අපි වැදගත්කම අනුව දේවල් වර්ගීකරණය කරන්නේ කොහොමද? දෙවෙනි එක අපි අපිට ගැළපෙන දේවල් හොයාගන්නේ හදාගන්නේ කොහොමද? තුන්වෙනි එක මම නිකන් ජෙනරලි අතහැරීම කියලා කියන්නේ. හතරවෙනි එක වෙන්නේ අපේ ආගම. Right? Now, first thing I want to talk about is prioritization. And this is something that is extremely important, not just for your academics, extracurriculars, but I think generally in life. Because the way we are now dealing with the world and the way we are dealing with a lot of things, we don't have the luxury to focus on one thing at a time. මම හිතන්නේ අපි කාටවත් මේ අපි යන්නේ අපි පුරුදු වෙලා තියෙන ජීවන රටාව මේ ලෝකේ යන විදිහට දැක්වෙන්නේ නෙමෙයි. එක වෙලාවක එක දෙයක විතරක් නිරත වෙලා ඉන්න අපි කාටවත් හැම වෙලාවෙම. එතකොට අපි කොහොමද එකම වෙලාවේ වැඩ දෙක තුනක් කරන්නේ? මම එකම වෙලාවෙ කියලා කියන්නේ සමහරට එක මේ ඇතුළත නෙමෙයි. දැන් මම එකම වෙලාවෙ වැඩ දෙක එකතු තුනක් කරනවා වගේ දෙයක්ම නෙමෙයි. නමුත් අපි සාමාන්‍ය කාල සීමාවක් ගත්තොත් අපි මාසයක් හරි සතියක් හරි කාල සීමාවක් ගත්තොත් අපිට ඒ සතිය ඇතුළත වැඩ කීපයක්ම තියෙනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන් කරන්න. එතකොට අපි කොහොමද ওই හැමදේම කරන්නේ? මේ හැමදේම කරන්න මම හිතන්නේ ප්‍රධානතම දේ අපි හොයාගන්න ඕනේ අපිට එක අපි සම්බන්ධ වෙලා ඉන්න එක ව්‍යාපෘතිය හෝ වැඩේ හෝ ක්ෂේත්‍රයෙන් අපිට ඇත්තටම අවසානයේදී අවශ්‍ය මොකක්ද කියලා. First thing that all of us, and I learned this quite later, which is why I'm sharing it with you, so that maybe you can tailor your life in that way. You need to find what exactly you want from every involvement you have. And this includes your academic career. Again, a bit of a controversial thing to say, right? Because everyone encourages you to do well at your academics. I am, of course, not against it, but it's up to you to decide to what extent you want to pursue your academic career. Some of you might want to just pass and finish off your degree. If that is what you have decided for your life, that is fine. Some of you might have other objectives, maybe to class, or maybe to, I don't know, if miracles work at faculty, get a first class and apply to masters or PhD. It is decide, but I will tell you something at this point which I will elaborate later on as well. Keep an open mind as well, but definitely decide what you want from each thing you learn. So for example, even if you're involved in road track, road track එක සම්බන්ධ වෙලා ඉන්නේ මට අවශ්‍ය මොනවද? සම මගෙන් road track වලට ගෙරෙන්න ඕනේ මොනවද? When you have figured out that, it's very easy for you to then prioritize certain things. Usually make decisions. If I am to be present at 2 places at the same time, I weigh my options and think, where am I needed the most? මම හිතන්නේ හිතන්නේ දැන් මයික් වෙලාවකට තැන්දීකට යන්න ඕනේ. මම හිතනවා මාව මේ මොකද කොටිපුරකට මාව අත්‍යවශ්‍ය මොන දැනටද? ඉතල ඒ තීරණය ගන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඒ වගේ තීරණ ගන්න හරි ලේසි. එතකොට ඒ තීරණ ගන්නේ කොහොමද අපි? දැන් මාව වැඩි අත්‍යවශ්‍ය නැවෙන්න තැනට මම වෙනකොට සබ්ස්ටිටියුට් එකක් තියෙනවා. නැත්නම් ඒ තැනේ කොහොමද වැඩේ කරගෙන යන්නේ? නැත්නම් මට කලින් ඒ වැඩේ ඉවර කරන්න පුළුවන්. නැත්නම් ඒ වැඩේ මට වෙන දවසකට කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ හරි සාමාන්‍ය සරල දේවල්. ඒගොල්ලෝ මේක ප්‍රායෝගිකව කරනවත් ඇති. නමුත් මම මේ අපහු ඔයගලන්ට මතක් කරනවා මේ දේවල් වලින් තමයි අපි බැලන්සිං ඇක්ට් එක කරගන්නේ. එතකොට ඒ පළවෙනි දේ. දෙවෙනි දේ අපි අපිට ගැළපෙන schedule එකක් හදා ගන්න ඕනේ. Now, I know there are a lot of coaches, lifestyle coaches, motivation appachies or speakers or whoever they are, who speak and encourage people to have plans, long-term plans, 5-year plans, where do you want to be at the end of 10 years, all of that. That is good. Those are good things. Again, not everyone works in the same way. අපි හැමෝම එකම විදිහකට වැඩ කරන මිනිස්සු නෙවෙයි. කෙනාට වෙනස්. එතකොට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ගැළපෙන ෂෙඩියුල් එකක් ඔයගොල්ලෝ හදාගන්න. සමහරට ඒ ෂෙඩියුල් එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ දවසට හදන ෂෙඩියුල් එකක් හරි. අද දවසට මම මෙන්න මේ වැඩ ටික කරනවා එච්චරයි. මම හෙට ගැන හිතන්නෙත් නෑ. මට ඊයේ අතපසු වෙච්ච එක ගැන මම හිතන්නෙත් නෑ. මම අද දවසේ මෙන්න මේ ටික කරනවා එතනින් ඉවරයි. Some of you may have long-term plans. So whatever it is, make a schedule that is more personal to you. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ commitments තියෙන විදිහට, ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ involvements තියෙන විදිහට ගැළපෙන schedule එකක් ඔයගොල්ලෝ හදාගන්න. Right? ඒ schedule එක හදද්දී අනිත් කෙනාගේ schedule එක දිහා නොබලනවා නම් වඩාත්ම හොඳයි. But if there are good things that you can gain from the others, definitely look into it. But other than that, make a schedule that is personal to you. Number 3, and this is something that a lot of us, including myself, are a bit afraid to do, but something that needs to be discussed is how you make compromises. සමහර දේවල් අපිට සමහර දේවල්දී අතාරින්න වෙනවා. ඒකට ඒ දේ අපිට කැමැත්තෙන් හෝ අකමැත්තෙන් කරන්න වෙනවා. නමුත් ඒ දේ හානිය අඩු වෙන විදිහට කරගන්න විදිහ තමයි අපි මේ බැලන්ස් එක ඇතුළත කරගන්න උත්සාහ කරන්නේ. ඒකට compromises කියලා කියන දේවල් හැමතිස්සෙම අපි one or the other කියන තැනට යන්න ඕනේ කියලා මම හිතන්නේ නැහැ කොයි තැනක. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට තියෙන options දෙකයි එක්කම අතහැරලා දාලා අනිත් එක කරනවා ඒක අතහැරලා දාලා මේක කරනවා එහෙම වෙන්නේ නැහැ හැමතිස්සෙම අපිට ගන්න තියෙන decisions. සමහර දේවල් වලට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට I give you a very simple example. If there are 2 places that you have to be at the same time, let's say these are 2 projects. Okay, road track, let's say community service is organizing one project today somewhere else. Maybe I don't know, club service is having something else on the same day. And you as a road track member now you're caught in this dilemma where do I go? Right? Obviously you can't be present in 2 places. You don't have Hermione's whatever that thing is to be present in 2 places at the same time, right? So then what do you do? One thing, simple things you can do is, if you can't go for if you're needed more at the community service project, and maybe that's your project or that's your avenue, and you really want to go there, maybe help out with the club service project on the previous day. Right? Tell them, okay, I'm unable to come, but I'll help you guys with something. Get some work assigned to you. Maybe calling, scheduling, maybe venue arrangement. So then you've handled that. So you compromise, yes, to a certain extent, but you don't give it up altogether. Why I tell this is because opportunities are very rare in a country like ours. And always good to grab a hold of whatever opportunity that comes your way. අවස්ථාවන් කියන දේවල් අපි දැන් කොළඹ ඇතුලේ ජීවත් වෙන කෙනෙක්. කොළඹින් පිට ගියාම ඊට වඩා අඩු. ලංකාව වගේ රටක් ඇතුලේ විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ තියෙන තත්ත්වෙ දෙක අපි ලැබෙන අවස්ථාවන් අඩු. ඒ අවස්ථාවන් මෙන්න එන වෙලාවට ඒ දේවල් ගන්න. නමුත් ඒ අවස්ථාවන් ගද්දි මේ වගේ දෙයකට එකලෙන් මුහුණ දෙන්න වෙයි. I'm speaking in general and not restraining my speech to just road track, but in all extracurricular activities and lectures. Now I'm going to say the most controversial thing. Sometimes you might have to cut lectures. Why not to do it? I've done that. I'm not encouraging it, right? I'm not saying, okay, shut out all the lectures and just go do all the other extracurricular activities, but sometimes you might have to make that decision. But, and this is where the 4th thing becomes really important, and that is friends. And don't think of it as using friends to do everything else and you minding your business. That's not what I'm talking about. But you have a backup. And that's where friends really come through, right? ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ යාළුවෝ ඉන්නවා නම් එදා දවසේ ඇත්තටම වැදගත් පාඩමක් ඇත්තටම වැදගත් විෂයක ඇත්තටම වැදගත් පාඩමක් නම් ගන්නන්නේ ඒ යාළුවට රෙකෝඩින් එකක් දාගන්න. හරි නෝට් එකක් දාගන්න කියලා අපි අහගෙන පස්සේ අහගන්න. then you're compromising, yes, but you're not losing out. Right? එතකොට මම ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්ම ඔය කාරණා හතර ගැන තමයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කතා කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා අද දවසේ හිතුවේ. මම අපව සමරයිස් කරන්න. ප්‍රයොරිටයිස් කරලා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඇත්තටම අවශ්‍ය එක දේෙන් ඇත්තටම අවශ්‍ය මොකක්ද කියලා බලන්න. then personalize the schedule. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ගැළපෙන සැලැස්මක් හදාගන්න. ඒක කෙටි කාලීන දීර්ඝකාලීන ඕන විදිහක දෙයක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. then difficult as it may sound, make compromises when you have to make compromises, but definitely have fallback options. Plan B එකට යන්න plan B එක කැපිටේෂන් කියන්නේ. හරි මට මෙතනට යන්න බැරි නම් මම කොහොමද එතනින් මට අවශ්‍ය දේ ලබන්නේ? Fourth thing is friends. මම කියන්නේ ඔයසම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට යාළුවෝගෙන් ඉගෙන ගන්න ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. And that's what I do. I have done personally. I've learned a lot from my friends, academically, socially, emotionally, a lot of things. I have a good set of friends. ඔයගොල්ලන්ට උදව් කරනවා. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ extra curriculars දේවල් වලට ඔයගොල්ලෝ involve වෙනවා නම් record වෙනවා කරන්න දෙන්නේ අත්සනක් හරි දායි. අඩුමතර. right. එතකොට ඒ හින්දා මම හිතනවා extra curriculars වලට involve වෙන කෙනෙක් විදිහට involve වෙන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන ඉන්න කෙනෙක් විදිහට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මේ දේවල් ටික දේවල් ගැන හිතුවොත් මේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්න දේවල්. But sometimes as Sri Lankans we need to be reminded of certain things to realize that okay, we know these things, right? And that's what I'm. So to wrap up, just to summarize and give you like a very final few concluding thoughts. One thing is, I think expose yourself and don't be afraid to expose yourself to new challenges. අලුත් අභියෝගයන්ට බය වෙන්න එපා. මම හිතන්නේ මම තමයි ප්‍රශ්නය. අද කිසිම legal knowledge එකක් නැතුව කියලා. විකුම් අයියා උත්තරයක් දෙන්න. විකුම් also gave an answer, and that's the same answer I had to give when I started interning at the Environmental Foundation Limited. I had zero idea about environmental law. Absolutely no idea. I'll tell you why I decided to enroll myself with the Environmental Foundation Limited, because I had a friend from drama who worked there before, but she worked for a completely different department, which is the science department. And I only realized it after I went there that there are two departments. She said it's a cool place to work. So I was like, that's the place I want to enter. So I made that decision and I went and realized, okay, I have to do something completely else. Right? But that's okay. And that was a turning point in my life. I consider that to be interest in environmental law really sparked. The final point that I want to leave with is something that I started off or mentioned elsewhere, is always keep an open mind. After I did my A levels, so I got shape A with results. So I decided to enter faculty. At that point, I go a bit beyond. Initially, I think during early years of schooling, I wanted to be a pilot. I know it's a very conventional thing to say. There's few things now in mind, doctor, pilot, engineer, so I chose pilot out of that. And then by life happened, and then I decided to enter the art stream. So then I said I enter law faculty, but then after I got my A-level results, I wanted to be a judge. I came to law faculty and realized, okay, that's not working. I'm going to be a lawyer, but I want to specialize in criminal law. By the third or fourth year, that's also gone for a 6. And now, like I said earlier, my entire passion is on environmental conservation. And now I'm trying to learn a bit towards the science aspect as well, which is why I'm now involved with the Young Zoologists Association. Sometimes you may fixate and think, okay, I really want to do this. That's not a bad thing at all, right? But having an open mind and having a plan are two different things that you can do at the same time. Again, it's not one or the other. You can have a plan, you can have a pathway and think and decide, okay, I want to be a practitioner. I want to go into legal practice. But having an open mind will tell you, okay, there are certain interesting areas in law you can practice. Sometimes, even if it's the two general branches of civil and criminal law, there are certain specializations that you can look towards. That is where having an open mind is going to help you. එතකොට ඔය දේවල් ටික තමයි මට අද ඔයගොල්ලොත් එක්ක බෙදාගන්න ඕනේ මම හිතුවා මේ පොඩි කැෂුවලි අපි මේ දේවල් ටික කතා කරමු සහ ඔයගොල්ලන් නිතරම අහලා නැති දේවල් ටිකක් කියන්න තමයි මම පුළුවන් තරම් උත්සාහ කරේ මගේ ජීවිතයෙන් උදාහරණ අරගෙන සහ මගේ අත්දැකීම් එක්ක මම හිතනවා ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පොඩි හරි දෙයක් කතා කරපු මේ ගානෙන් තප්පර 30ක් හරි දෙයක් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට එකතු කරගන්න දෙයක් තියෙනවා අපි කියලා. So I'm happy to see a large number of participants who have joined the road track movement. I'm assuming a lot of first years are also here. ඔයගොල්ලෝ තාම විශ්වවිද්‍යාල ජීවිතයට අලුත් ආධුනිකයෝ නමුත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ road track වගේ සමාජයක එකතු වෙලා දැම්මම මේ විෂය බාහිර ක්‍රියාකාරකම් වලට සම්බන්ධ වෙලා ඉන්නවා කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම සතුටුදායක කාරණාවක්. එහෙනම් ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ජර්නි එකට ඔයගොල්ලන් ඉස්සරහ වැඩ කටයුතු වලට සුබ පතනවා. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ වැඩ කටයුතු හොඳින්ම කරගන්න කියලා කියනවා. අපි දෙන්න බෑ. මොනවාද තියනවා නම් අපි ඕන වෙලාවක ෆැකල්ටි එක වෙනුවෙන් road track club එක වෙනුවෙන් අපි සූදානම් වෙලා තියෙනවා. අපි සූදානම්ෙන් ඉන්න උදව් කරන්න. ඒකින්ද කතා කරන්න ඒ මොන හරි තියෙනවා නම් we are always there, we are always around to help you in whatever way we can. Thank you so much for your time and attention. If you have questions, I think I can deal with a couple questions if you have. Thank you very much.
සමබර පෞරුෂයක් තුළින් පෝෂණය වෙච්ච විද්‍යාර්ථියෙක් සමාජයට දායාද කරන විදිය සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබතුමන් වටිනා අදහස් රසක් අපත් සමග බෙදාගත්තා. ආදරණීය නංගි මල්ලියේ මේ අවස්ථාව ඔබට මේ කතා කරපු ශාස්ත්‍රය සම්බන්ධයෙන් මොනියම් හෝ ඔබට ගැටලුවක් තිබෙනවා නම් දේශකතුමන්ට ප්‍රශ්න යොමු කිරීමට දැන් ඔබට අවස්ථාව තියෙනවා. ඔබ කැමති භාෂා මාධ්‍යයකින් සිංහල, දෙමළ, ඉංග්‍රීසි ඔබේ ප්‍රශ්න එතුමන් වෙත යොමු කරන්නට පුළුවන්.
Thank you very much. We invite the participants to raise the questions to speaker, if any.
Okay, I asked this question because I couldn't ask this in the last session as well. So this is about a person choosing a person's right direction of career. So you might end up thinking that is suitable to go in certain career path and might end up changing that while practicing it for 3 or 2 years. And then you might think that it is not going well with your moral obligations and moral compass. And you might think that's not suitable and you might change it. So how can we like pick something at the first point? Like I'm saying it's not possible actually to pick something at the first point. We have experienced something, but going for something that is not going well with you for 3 or 2 years, it's not a like a effective thing. So what's your idea on that? Actually, we couldn't hear you.
Sorry?
Actually, we couldn't hear you at the very first.
Your name?
My name?
Yes.
I'm Arjun Jaising.
Right. So it's an interesting question, Arjun. That much I can say at the beginning. But I think if I have to break down your question, I don't think we should fix on something right at the beginning. And that's the whole point of keeping an open mind. And I think you gave an answer to your own question in a sense when you said, when we go and when we experience certain things, when we add certain new knowledge, new experiences, new pathways to your life, your decisions also try to decisions also formulate or change according. And that's a good thing. I don't think as individuals, you should be afraid or regard that as something that is inherently immoral or bad. To me, that's what being an undergraduate and being an academic or even beyond, even being part of the legal profession is all about. Is about how receptive you are to change and how you adapt as an individual. And so when you gain new experiences, gain new knowledge, you will obviously venture on different pathways. So don't be afraid to do that. But if you are to fix on something, or if you are to choose something at the starting point, I can't speak for everyone, but I will speak and I will share what I do. I try to look at things that people generally don't do. And those might not be the most popular of the decisions. And it might involve certain compromises, like, for example, things like having a very lucrative or money earning career, right? So it might always not be that. Or it might be something that is not there in Sri Lanka at this time point. That's something I always try in my limited experience and things I've learned and experienced over the years. I always try to do something that the others don't do, which I consider to be a good starting point. And so I experiment and that doesn't really work for me. Then, of course, I can move on to something else. But the important thing I think to do there, or to mentally prepare yourself, is to realize that A, there are chances that you might fail. But B, and that is the most important thing, don't regard that as a waste of your time or a waste of your resources or your life. Trust me when I say this, as cliche as it may sound, failures do teach you a lot of things than achievements do. A lot of things. Even at the very basic level, it teaches you to not take a risk. And that is a very important lesson that all of us need to learn in life. Right? So yes, as a starting, I just summarize the answer to Arjuna's question. As a starting point, look at things that really interest you. So for me, even when I did law, I am still involved with the media industry. I'm involved with the arts and the theatre industry. I'm now involved with the environmental conservation industry. Those are things that really interest me. And so within the legal knowledge or legal pathways, I try to explore things that may connect to that. And within that, you may find a niche area or a new area or something that others don't really do. So maybe start out there. And then when you gain experiences and you broaden your horizons and your knowledge, maybe
you're not audible.
Right. I'm sorry.
Whether it's for me,
yeah,
you're not audible.
Must be on my end. I'm sorry. I hope this is a bit clearer. So just to summarize things that I've been speaking about is that start off somewhere which you think is interesting, which might be a place that not everyone is willing to or doing at the current time. Then when your experiences and your new knowledge comes through, either if you want to go and change it or alter it in such a way that it suits your new experiences and new knowledge. That's something that maybe you can look to do, Arjuna, when you venture on your path.
Thank you for that.
We have a question on the chat. I'll read it out. Can we decrease our fear to public speaking in these extracurricular activities?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Yes, sorry. Can we decrease our fear to public speaking in these extracurricular activities?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. There are certain specialized extracurricular activities that will teach you to do that. At faculty, you have moots and debates, but beyond that, you have, I think, the Gabon Club in the university. You have organizations like ISEC, which organizes certain things. I think even in Road-Track, there are open mic events and such like things that you can definitely be a part of. But I think overcoming stage fright or the fright to speak at a public forum is going to be crucial to you if you are to enter the legal field. But trust me when I say this, 80% of your stage fright, or at least, oh, I won't say 80%, I'd say 90% of your stage fright is here. Learn to train your mind to overcome it, and extracurriculars are definitely the place for you to do it. Even if you are a bit shy to start off with extracurriculars, maybe join a club that your friend is in, or there are certain activities that you can do at home to overcome your stage fright. But the problem is here, not anywhere else. So it's an important question. Whoever asked it, thank you. හැමෝගෙම මේ හැමෝටම කියන්නම් මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ ගැන. මෙතන ස්ටේජ් ෆයිට් නැත්නම් අපිට පොදු ස්ථානයකට ගිහිල්ලා කතා කරන්න තියෙන බය අපි ගොඩක් දෙනෙක්ට තියෙනවා. මටත් තියෙනවා. මට තාමත් තියෙනවා. නමුත් ඒක අපි ඕවර්කම් කරන්නේ කොහොමද? අපි එකෙන් එළියට එන්නේ කොහොමද කියන දේ විසඳුම තියෙන්නේ අපේ පොළොව ඇතුලේ. ස්ටේජ් ෆයිට් කියන්නේ අපි ඔළුව ඇතුලේ තියෙන දේ. අපි එතකොට අපිව ට්‍රේන් කරගන්න අමාරු නම් අපිට තනියෙන් අපිට ඒක ඕවර්කම් කරන්න තියෙන හොඳම තැන තමයි එක්ස්ට්‍රා කරිකුලර් ඇක්ටිවිටීස්. මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේ ඒකට ස්පෙෂලායිස් වෙච්ච ටැන්ක් ඉම්පැක්ට් තියෙනවා. කැබල් ස්පෝර්ට් ඇන්ඩ් ඩිබේටිං වගේ දේවල්. ඊට අමතරව අපිට රෝඩ් ට්‍රැක් සමාජ කරා ඩියෝ සමාජ මේ වගේ යම් යම් ව්‍යාපෘති සංවිධානය වෙනවා. ඔය වගේ කාරණාවල් සම්බන්ධ ඒ දේවල්වලට ඔයගොල්ලන්ට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්නත් පුළුවන්.
Thank you, sir. There is another question. How would we know if we really want to do law?
Question. I will say it's a very good question. And so keep it as a question. I think the longer you question yourself as to whether this is what I really want to do, is when you're actually going to realize whether you actually want to do it or not. I can't give you an answer because that answer is entirely in you and up to you to discover. But the only advice that I can tell you is keep questioning yourself and the things that you do. Like I said, the example from my life is I wanted to be a pilot. It didn't happen. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Then a judge, then a criminal lawyer, and I ended up in somewhere completely different. I don't know whether that's what I'm going to do in future as well. I might give up law altogether and do something completely different. Who knows? That's the beauty of life. So embrace it. Don't be afraid to question yourself. And I think a ප්‍රශ්නෙත් එක්ක මම හිතන්නේ එකතු වෙච්ච තව දෙයක් තියෙනවා. අපි දිහා බලන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක. මම හිතන්නේ ඒකත් නීති ක්ෂේත්‍රයේ අපි generally අපි දවසේ වැඩ කටයුතු කරගෙන යද්දී අපි self criticism. Don't be too harsh on yourself. But definitely have some reflection on what you do. ඔගොල්ලෝ කරපු දේවල්, ඔගොල්ලෝ කියපු දේවල්, ඔගොල්ලෝ සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච දේවල් පසුවිපරමක් කරන්න. කරලා බලන්න මම මේකෙන් දෙයක් ඉගෙනගන්නවා. මම නැත්තම් මේ මට ඇත්තටම කරන්න අවශ්‍ය දෙයක් නැහැ. මේකෙන් මම කොහොමද ඉස්සරහට දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගන්න නැත්නම් මම කොහොමද තවදුරටත් හොඳට කරන්නේ. දැන් මම ස්පීච් එකක් කළා. මම ලෙක්චර් එකක් කරා නම් ලෙක්චර් එක අහන්න මම කොහොමද මේක තවදුරටත් හොඳට කරන්නේ. එතකොට questioning yourself about your choices and also reflecting on the things that you do or engage in will help you as an individual in your career and generally in your life. Thank you very much for asking that question. If you haven't decided whether you want to do law at this point or not, that's fine. I still haven't decided, so I'm sure there are enough and more people out there who haven't still decided. It's okay. Keep that question open. And it's something that I really wanted to tell you guys as well. Be receptive and keep an open mind. Let life take you to beautiful places. Yes.
If we don't have any more questions, can we wind up the question session? Right. It seems like we don't have any more questions, so we invite Diniti now.
Yeah, if there aren't any further questions, I'd like to once again thank the Rotary Club of Faculty of Law for having me and giving me this opportunity to speak a few things. I don't know whether I made much sense, but I hope there was at least a few things that you would have gained from this discussion. More than happy to help you guys with anything and everything that is there in your journey. Please feel free to reach out if you have anything. I'd like to once again congratulate all of you and you guys are all the best.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Diniti.
අද දවසේදී සමබර පෞරුෂයක් තුළින් සමබර විද්‍යාර්ථියෙක් බිහිකිරීම සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඔබතුමන් වටිනා කරුණු රසක් අපත් සමග බෙදා හදාගත්තා. ඉතින් අපි දැක්ක ඔබතුමන් අපිත් එක්ක අද එකතු වුණේ අතිශය කාර්යබහුල කාලසටහනක් ඇතුළේ. ඉතින් ඔබතුමන්ට රොටරැක් සංවිධානය වෙනුවෙන් අපේ ස්තුතිය පුද කරනවා. අපේ ආරාධනය බොහොම ආදරණීය විදිහට පිළි අරගෙන අපත් සමග එකතු වුණාට නැවතත් ඔබතුමන්ට බෙහෙවින්ම ස්තුතියි. ෆර්හත්.
Yes. Now, having reached the final moments of the session, I would like to invite Project Co-Chairperson Rotractor Nimuthu Sirwardana to deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Farhat. Nagi Malli, me log out වෙන්න එපා. මේ නිවේදන කිහිපයක් තියෙනවා vote of thanks එකත් එක්ක මට ඔය කට්ටියට කියන්න. ඒ හින්දා අපිත් එක්ක පැය දෙකකට ආසන්න ප්‍රමාණයක් හිටියට මුලින්ම ඔයාලට ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. හැබැයි මේ ටිකත් අහලම යන්න කියලා මම ඉතාමත් ආදරයෙන් ගෞරවයෙන් ඔයාලට මතක් කරනවා. මුලින්ම මේ ව්‍යාපෘතිය සාර්ථක කර ගැනීමට අපට අවවාද අනුශාසනා ලබා දෙමින් අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු සෝදානම් කරපු අපේ නීති පීඨයේ පීඨාධිපති මහාචාර්ය සම්පත් පුංචිහේවා මෙතුමන්ව ස්තුතිය අපි පුද කරනවා රොටරැක්ට් සමාජය වෙනුවෙන්. ඒ වගේම අප රොටරැක්ට් සමාජයේ බාරාචාර්ය වසන්ත සෙනවිරත්න මහාචාර්යතුමියට අපගේ කෘතවේදීත්වය පුද කර සිටිනවා. ඒ වගේම අද සම්පත් දායකයන් දෙපළ විදිහට කටයුතු කරපු විකුම් ජයසිංහ සහ ලක්ෂිත ඉදිරිසිංහ යන ඒ විශිෂ්ට විද්‍යාර්ථීන් දෙපළට අපගේ කෘතවේදීත්වය පුද කර සිටිනවා. ඒ වගේම නංගි මල්ලි ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම මම දන්නවද සෙනසුරාදා දවසක් සතියෙම ලෙක්චර්ස් ඉඳලා අද උදේට නැගිටලා මේකත් එක්ක සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම රොටරැක්ට් සමාජයේ වශයෙන් ඉතාමත් ආදරෙන් ගෞරවයෙන් අපි ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම මේක සාර්ථක කරගන්න අපත් එක්ක එකතු වෙච්චි අපේ රොටරැක්ට් සමාජයේ සියලුම නිලධාරීන් මණ්ඩලය සහ සමාජිකයන් හැමෝම සංවිධායක මණ්ඩලය වශයෙන් මම මගේ කෘතවේදීත්වය මේ මොහොතේ පුද කර සිටිනවා. මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ මට නිවේදන දෙකක් තියෙනවා. මම සිංහලෙන් සහ ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවෙන් දෙකෙන් මේක කරන්න. මම මෙතනදී කියන්න හිටපු ගොඩක් දේවල් අපි ආපු අපේ දේශකයේ දෙපළ කිව්වා. මට එක දැනුවත් කිරීමක් තියෙනවා. මේ 27 වෙනිදා we are doing a project called Project Shivat which will be on raising awareness about cyberbullying. So we will be inviting all of you to take part in this. With that මේ lawyer කියන ව්‍යාපෘතිය අපි we are doing lawyer as 2 phases. The first phase is this, which is so you all know that we are supposed to have this on Friday, right? Yesterday. Unfortunately, because of the change in your lecture timetables, we had to shift it to Saturday. So next Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. will be the official induction, where you can be a part of the Rotary Club officially. So please, I highly encourage you all to be a part of this. It's going to be so much important. එහෙනම් කාරුණිකව ඉතාමත් ආදරයෙන් එන්න කියනවා. මොකද ඕගොල්ලෝ දැන් දන්නවා කොහොමද මේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයෙන් ඕගොල්ලෝ එළියට යද්දි විශිෂ්ට විද්‍යාර්ථයෙක් වන්නේ. ඔයාලා විශිෂ්ට විද්‍යාර්ථයෙක් වන්න මොනවාද ඔයාලට අවශ්‍ය කරන්නේ? එතකොට ඕගොල්ලොට සමාජයට මේ විදිහ අවබෝධයක් ඇති. රොටරැක්ට් ක්ලබ් එකෙන් මේක කරනවා මෙහෙම කරනවා අපිට අපේ චරිතය හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. මේ වගේ කියන කරුණු කාරණා ගොඩක් ඕගොල්ලන්ගේ හිතේ දුවනවා ඇති. ඉතින් මේ වලට හරි පිළිතුරු ඔයගොල්ලන්ට හරියට දැනගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ රොටරැක්ට් ක්ලබ් එක කියන්නේ මොනවාද? මොකක්ද අපි මොනවාද කරන්නේ? මේ කියන හැම ප්‍රශ්නෙටම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට බ්‍රහස්පතින්දට උත්තර ලැබේ. Ehinda, I warmly welcome you and invite you to take part on lawyer induction ceremony, which will be taking place on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the auditorium. All doors are open. You all can come and you can witness, and then you can be a member. And remember that this membership would last towards the end of your legal career. The bonds, the relations that you build up at this ROTREC would last forever. Trust me when I say this, I am experiencing, we all are experiencing. So I invite you all to be a part of the ROTREC Club of Faculty of Law. Thank you very much, Steve, for taking your time and being part of this for us.
ස්තුතියි නිමුතු. අද දවසේදී අපි පැය දෙකක් පුරාවට නීති උපාධි අපේක්ෂකයෙකු විදිහට අපිට අනාගතය තීරණය කරගන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක වගේම සමබර පෞරුෂයක් තුළින් අගනා විද්‍යාර්ථියෙක් විදිහට කොහොමද අපි සමාජගත වෙන්නේ කියන දේ සාකච්ඡා කළා. ඉතින් මේ වගේම වැඩසටහන් මාලාවක් රොට්‍රක් සංවිධානය හරහා ඔබට අරගෙන ඉන්නට අප සූදානමින් සිටිනවා. ඉදිරියේදීත් රොට්‍රක් සංවිධානය සමග මේ විදිහට ලෙන්ගතුකමින් රැඳී සිටින්නටයි කියලා ඔබට බොහොම ආදරණීයව ආරාධනා කරමින් අද දවසේ වැඩසටහන අප මෙතනින් නිමාවට පත් කරන්නට සූදානම් වෙනවා. ඉතින් අපත් සමග සම්බන්ධ වූ ඔබ සියලුම දෙනාට නැවත වතාවක් ස්තුතියි. ඔබ සැමට සුබ දවසක් වේවා.
With that, the session comes to an end. We wish you all a good rest of the day. Thank you.
And a short notice, guys, if you all can just remain for a little bit to take a photograph. So we kindly request all of you to switch your cameras on if possible so that we can take a full photograph. අනිවාර්යයෙන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් නම් ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ cameras on කරන්න. මේ අපි පින්තූරයක් ගන්න යන්නේ. Hi, thank you, Hemotama.